Hello. Welcome back to SeeNoBounds Live. I have dragged Danielle kicking and screaming into the theatre, and I'm super keen to be able to actually have the opportunity to interview the lady behind First for Health. Danielle, welcome to the studio. Welcome to the show. It really is cool. I know that you're quite nervous, right? Because there's cameras and there's lights and all the rest of it. And that's perfectly normal, right? Because you're very much behind the scenes on stuff. And for me, obviously, this just means nothing for me, right? Do you know what I mean? But that's what makes us very different people. Mm-hmm. And I want to talk to you a little bit about who you are. We've known each other for a long time. I do feel very proud to say that you're a friend. But let's talk a little bit about who you are, all right? Because people don't necessarily know you because you're just doing stuff constantly behind the background and you're never out there kind of going, oh, I'm Danielle Brown. So I thought I'd just bring you in and do that. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us a little bit about your background. How did you get into management, planning, administration? How did you get into all of
that? So I've been doing administration, management as a job for over 20 years now.
You don't look old enough.
Yeah, so I've been doing it for over 20 years. I've worked for various different organisations. So I've worked for the Magistrates Court. I've worked for Dow, Corning it was then. It's now
That's
Dow.
a chemical company.
Yeah, the chemical company. I've worked for Scotch Wales, as you know. I help on a voluntary basis with Basketball Wales as well.
Yeah.
Where else have I worked?
I mean, there's some big companies in there, very diverse as well. Yes. And I think that's the important message that I want to kind of get across, because you've got experience in some really diverse organisations. Yeah. And especially, I mean, let's talk a little bit about Squash Wales for a minute. Mm-hmm. Like you organised, when I was working with, so me and Danielle used to work with each other at Squash Wales. And when we worked together, you literally set up, run and organised not just the directors and the conference and, you know, the board meetings and all of that, which when you've got a board of people like across the country, it's you're choreographing, you're not really organising. It's like herding cats, right?
Yeah, coordinating.
Yeah, and then you've got the Welsh Masters, which is it's an international squashing event where you bring in sportsmen from all over the world, multiple countries, multiple cultures, multiple languages, and you're still bringing them all into one place. That takes a lot of organisation, and that is where your passion, but also your skill set is.
Yes, yeah, that's right.
So let's talk a little bit about that, right? Because let's talk a little bit about First for Health. I mean, you are the lady behind First for Health.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about the story of First for Health. Like, where does it come from? Why are you doing it? What's your drive? What's your why?
Right. Okay. So I set up originally during the pandemic. So I think I've always wanted to set up my own business. I never really had the courage to take that leap, because it's a lot to give up full-time employment, and start out on your own, because it's not guaranteed income and things like that. But obviously, because of the pandemic, I just I think it hit a lot of people, and I just thought, well, if I don't do it now, I'm never going to do it. Life's too short. Just bite the bullet. And I just decided to set it up, and it's just grown from this, really. It's
a brave move. Yeah. Setting up your own company is a brave move. Mm-hmm. And it's not nice. It's not easy. It's not pleasant. Yeah. It's a rough place to be. It's a tough place to be. But then the organization or the industry that you're working in is actually there to build and support other entrepreneurs. Yeah. Which is basically your fundamental core product. Yes. Is to help other people and give back time to other people, where they're in a position where they may not be in a position where they can afford to employ someone full time, but they can bring you in and pay effectively for the hour, which is an incredible concept. And I think freelancing is an incredible concept as well. So let's just talk a little bit about some of the services that you do, because I know obviously you do administrational stuff, you do minute taking, and I know you do conferencing, and I know you do like meeting organizations. But tell us a little bit about, or tell us more in depth of what it is, the multiple services that you cover.
Yeah, so there's a wide variety of services. Obviously anything to do with administration we can help with. We can help with creating SOPs, that type of thing. We can help with any PowerPoint creations, images like for social media, that type of thing. This is the wide variety, but we also now we're specialising in event management and assisting with training, because that is one of the key places where our skill set is.
Yeah.
So we're moving more towards the event management and training side of things now, because like I say, the skill set, I really enjoy helping with events. I enjoy that much to do it for free for Basketball Wales,
Yeah.
So
we all have to give back sometimes, and I think
Yeah.
that's. But also with the work you've been doing with Basketball Wales, I mean, I work alongside with you on that as well. It is a give back, but also you're learning all the time with that. So it's almost like a development. I also give to Basketball Wales because I'm passionate about it.
Yeah.
I know all of your children, except one, play basketball.
Yeah.
So and that's why we do it sometimes. Let's talk about the we, because obviously there's references to we. You've got a team behind you, and I think when people sometimes look at organizations, they look at you as just being one individual, but you've got a whole team of people that you can rely on, that you freelance out to, that you bring in those different skill sets, because you're not brilliant at everything, right?
No.
And that's why we use those teams, don't they?
Yeah.
So I think it's a really good point to make out, that you can't single-handedly manage and run an event, because it's just huge.
Yeah.
But you've got connections with entertainment organizations, with speaking agencies, with room, the venues.
Yeah.
You've got all of this, haven't you?
Yeah.
All of this is already in your black book, isn't it?
Definitely. And the more events that you do, the more contacts you get.
Yeah.
So I know people from when I was working at Squash Wales. I know people from Dow. The people that we, the different companies and things like that we use, and Basketball Wales. The more I do, set up the award ceremonies, and the more I do the team management, the more people you meet and the more contacts you get. And obviously, that through SeeNoBounds, I've built up. There's so many businesses within SeeNoBounds, and the more you get, the years go by, the more people you get to know.
Yeah.
And then you find out who you can rely on, really.
And it's about collaboration, right?
Definitely.
And I think when we are an independent, institutional, independent organization, I think that it's that continual reminder of going, I need to collaborate with someone.
Yeah.
I need to collaborate with someone. But then the good thing about that as well is you can always guarantee that you've got the best person for the job, right? And I think that's also super important. So let's talk a little bit. I mean, we're going to do a whole show around event management and event planning.
Yeah.
All right. And that's going to be next. And I'm really looking forward to kind of asking you some really intricate questions around that. But let's talk a little bit about, as an organization, let's just quickly touch on what type of events do you really enjoy working with?
So I enjoy doing award ceremonies. I've had, a couple of years, good few years now, arranging them between Basketball Wales and Squash Wales. Sporting events, I enjoy, helping out with any sporting events. I've also got, experience with setting up global meetings. So, I've coordinated people come from all around the world.
Yeah.
To meetings, everything that entails with that.
Flights, transport, travel,
the venue, everything,
And you've got people that you work with. You can even arrange that airport transportation to the venue, right? Because you've got those people in your back pocket as well.
No, that's it. So it's a lot. People don't realise what goes into events until they actually plan one. So there is a lot. Even with the Basketball Wales management, there's a lot that, when you're arranging for, teams to go away, so the travel, the accommodation, the food, everything, And most events, you need accommodation, travel, food.
So this is
Everything
something else
is
that I want to touch on as well. And so not only can you organise the events, but let's say a company was going to do an exhibition somewhere, right?
Yeah.
You can also jump in and help plan the team to get them from A to B as well, right? And the logistics support that.
And there's a lot of, even with the exhibitions, there's a lot of planning that goes into place there. You know, you need to have your setup, everything to do, you need to have your setup, everything
that goes with it. The stand,
your travel, your accommodation, that's everything.
People think you just rock up and build a stand. It really isn't that, because like you've got a team of 5 people, and that's 5 teams of bookings, 5 teams of food, 5 teams of arrangement, 5 people of travel. It's
all the forms and everything you've got to fill it out, because obviously they need to know what you're bringing, what size you've got to pay them.
And that's just in the UK, right?
Yeah.
What happens when you then do a conference on the other side of the world? You've then got visas and all that sort of stuff. So it's good. You could do all of that as well.
Yeah.
Oh, that's super interesting. Well, listen, we're going to do a whole show around this, so don't go too far. It's going to be an epic show talking all about event planning and event management. And we will see you right back there. Take care.